This is the strongest league start for currency I've ever had. Maps are absolutely raining chaos. I started off last weekend with practically no currency because I spent a load on my build, approximately 5 divines. So in just under a week I'm back up at 795 chaos and 6 divines, which is ridiculous. Hello Exile, you're watching Altec 2K Gaming. So how have I made all this currency, I hear you ask? Take a seat, get comfortable, and let's get into it. First of all, I'm not juicing my maps. All I'm using is Stream of Consciousness and Alcan Go. Now this isn't to say you couldn't get more currency if you do juice your maps, I just can't be bothered. So my first method of dropping currency is the new altars. You know, the ones they nerfed. Turns out the nerf wasn't quite a nerf. The currency changes they made to altars allow you to target farm currency, and an awful lot of it. Now as you know from previous leagues, I normally go for the Eater of World altars, not anymore. The Searing Exarch altars just seem to be so good, and that's because they offer you the ability to drop chaos. As far as I can tell, the Eater of World altars just don't allow this. The Chaos roll is available on both the bosses and the Eldritch minions. We want to get it on the Eldritch minions if possible because it's a much bigger chance of dropping currency. There's only one boss, there's lots of Eldritch minions. And the roll we want is percentage chance to drop an additional Chaos orb. If you can get this to around 2%, you'll be dropping somewhere between 12 and 15 Chaos a map. So how often does this roll occur? I seem to be getting it about once every 8 maps. If this roll isn't available, you can go for Grand Eldritch Embers, as these are worth about Chaos as well. Now one thing to note, when I put a master mission on the maps, I don't seem to get anywhere near as many altars. I'm not sure if this is a real thing or whether I just have a case of cognitive bias. The other bonus to sticking the Searing Exarch on every map is you also, every 24 maps, drop one of the invitations. You actually drop 2 every 24, but one is the lower one. At time of recording, the Incandescent invitation goes for about 0.5 of a divine. The lower Polaric one goes for about 20c. What investment do we need on the Atlas passive tree to actually make this work? We're going to pick up all the nodes, including Wrath of the Cosmos in the Wrath of the Cosmos cluster, and then we're going to go slightly up from here and up to the right to the Light of Dawn. This gives us a 50% chance to spawn a Searing Exarch altar when the influence of Searing Exarch first appears in your map. This is a lot stronger than it sounds. The earlier we can get the Chaos roll on an altar, the more monsters that will affect before we finish the map, and therefore the more currency we will drop. I didn't go for Baptized by Fire because it only shaves off a map or 2. Number 2. I've also heavily invested in Harbingers. This league, the Harbinger's got a new currency orb, the Fractured Orb. This is worth a small fortune. It's also super rare and I've only dropped 8 fragments in a week. Last night I cashed in 6 of these for a divine, so they're worth a lot. In addition to this, Ancient Orbs and Annulments are also worth quite a bit. Ancient Orbs are about 10 Chaos apiece, so it's 100 Chaos for 10, whereas the Annulments give you 50 Chaos for 10. Now for Harbinger investment on the Atlas tree, I have practically every node. I'll put a link to the tree in the description below. And it doesn't end here, there are several more ways I've been making currency this league which I'm about to share with you. But before we get there, what has been your favourite way of making currency so far, and how effective has it been? Let me know in the comments. And if you are enjoying this video or finding it useful, then please tickle the like button, it'll like it a lot. Next on the list is Expedition, and as you know, Expedition was also worth a lot last league, but it's actually better this league. So why is that? There is a new notable on the Atlas passive tree called Scratching Up the Ground. This reads, expeditions in your map have a 90% increased chance to be led by Tusion. He is the Expedition Haggling NPC and he haggles currency, and it's a ton of currency, sometimes stacks of 10 Chaos Orbs. This node is incredibly effective, it's almost getting Tusion once every 2 maps that has an Expedition encounter. The other bonus of running Expedition is that you drop logbooks, and Scythe logbooks can be worth quite a bit, to sell or to run. You can often get a fair bit of Chaos from them just on their own. The investment on the passive tree for this one is actually quite modest, only taking 2 clusters. I've also got a fair amount of investment into lockboxes. In fact, I'm using exactly the same tree nodes that I did last league. They're not quite as effective this league, I'm not sure why, maybe I'm just unlucky. Or possibly it's that I'm making so much currency in other ways that it's completely drowning it out. It's still very good. One other way I've been making money is through essences. And for this I have invested heavily in the tree, having almost every node. We want to get the most essence out of the map possible. Do note that even though Arch Nemesis is gone, some of the essence mobs are ridiculously strong still. If you are going to juice this as much as I have, then please be very careful and make sure your build is strong enough. These things will kill you given the chance. Now I haven't been selling these outright, instead I've been crafting stuff and selling that instead. But at some point I will start selling them whole. I think I have over 100 Chaos worth of essences in my tab. Okay, now the last way I've been making currency is mostly opportunistic. While you're mapping, you're gonna get a lot of fractured items drop from some of the mobs, and the vast majority of these will be complete and utter garbage. But I'm still going to suggest you ID as many of them as you can. Look for a T1 roll, and if they've got one, price check it. Some of the best T1 rolls have been worth over 2 divines in my experience. Now the league mechanic itself can also be very profitable, especially compared to the Lake of Kalandra. But it is rather hit and miss, so it's not reliable. And that is how I've been making obscene currency this league. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and with that, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Oh, and Merry Christmas.